Hello and welcome. In this session, we are going to create a Microsoft Teams migration project inside the BitTitan MigrationWiz console, and we will apply all the rights necessary on both tenants to facilitate that migration. And I'm going to take you through the entire process end to end and what we need to do to have a working Teams project. Now, before we just jump in and just hit create project, I do like to go and set up the things that are necessary in both tenants first. So I'm going to take you through those. I'm going to refer to the help desk article, which is on the BitTitan website, which is at the help.bittitan.com, because it does have some vital information there that we're going to use to perform these tasks. So if you do go to the help option inside the console, you will get into that help center. And what we're looking for is under the perform a migration, the Microsoft 365, and then Teams migrations, there is a Teams migrations FAQ. Now, this is where that information is kept. Now, the ones I'm interested in particular are the ones here for permissions. And you can see here, what I'm after is this. Now, this will allow the application access into the tenant. So what we're going to do here, we're going to have to log on to both tenants with the global admin, but we're just going to grab this link address here. I'm going to apply that. So how we do that, we're obviously logged into the 365 tenant here. So just in another window, we can just go and hit paste and go, which will then ask us to accept these permissions. And you can see Teams full control, and it wants to be able to do this block of tasks, which we will say accept. And that will drop us back to the BitTitan front homepage. Now, we can check whether that's done or not. Let's close that out. In the enterprise applications, which is inside Azure, you can see we've got these two here already. If I hit a refresh now, we should see, yeah, there we go. There's the Teams full control turned up. Now, obviously, when you finish the migration, you might want to go in and take that off just to remove that access. But for now, that is what we need to do in there. Now, the next thing is we've got to make sure that that MigrationWiz service account is there. Now, if you've had that created for other projects, like the OneDrive or the SharePoint, it will use the same account, use the same security group and the like. But for the purposes of this video, you can see here we have the MigrationWiz account. The difference on this one is that for a Teams migration, the account must have a license for Teams. Under OneDrive and SharePoint, it doesn't have to have any licensing applied, but in Teams, it does. So we've got to make sure we have a Teams license in there. And also we need to make sure that if we go to groups, we do have a security group set up. And you can see there's a MigrationWiz security group. And we've got to make sure that that MigrationWiz service account is a member of that. So members, you can see, yes, there it is in there. So that is all set to go. We've got those two main things done. And now we can go ahead and create the project. Obviously, we need to go and do this in the destination tenant as well. So that's going to be exactly the same thing, exactly what I've done. You need to go and apply it to the target as well. But I'm just going to go back now and we can start the creation of this new project. On the front screen, we'll say create project, and it will be a collaboration project. And we're going to give it a name. Just calling it Zoetrope Teams. I've given it that customer, which we've got set up as well. So we'll do the next step there. And now we need to set up the source and the destination endpoint. So I'm going to say new on this one, and we'll just call this one Zoetrope M365 Teams. It is a Teams source. Then we need to give it the credentials of our service account. That's right there. Add that. And next step will be the destination. So we'll do the same thing. Very, very similar. Right, so we'll tell it Teams is a destination. And we can say, yes, we want to do one with the document versions and metadata. And we'll give it that service account that exists on the other side. Like so, and we are going to use the Microsoft provided Azure storage. As you can see, it's not recommended for anything over 5 gig. For this demonstration, obviously, we've got a small amount of data, but you can set up the custom Azure storage, and then you give it the account name and the access key here. So if you need to do that, you can apply those items there. But here we just hit add and go and look at the summary. Now, we don't need to do anything in the advanced options. We don't need to tell it anything, like I say we did on the OneDrive and SharePoint. Teams doesn't require that. We just go straight into the Save Project here, and we are presented with the screen, which I'm sure we're all familiar with, where we can add the items for this project. And one of the nice things here is we can do the auto discover for Teams as well. We'll kick that off and say start. Now this is the first check really that we've got everything bound together and set up properly with that service account and with those rights that are in there. And this will just go and discover what teams that we have. So that took a few minutes to do, but you can see it's discovered one item. It's a small tenant. We've only got one team in there, but the fact that it's come up and said everything is looking good and it's discovered one item is obviously a good thing. So I'm going to hit import items here, and you can see it's just one team called distribution. So that is now ready to go ahead and do this credential check. So the next check we want to do is to make sure that it can see the destination correctly as well, and everything, like I said before, everything's bound together nicely, and we are really good for this migration. Just to make sure we've got those application rights down on both sides, we have that MigrationWiz service account set up with all the right licenses for it, and it has the membership of the group as well. If that's all in place, this one should work. So we're going to hit the tick box there. We'll start, and we'll just do a straight verify credentials, same as we do on most other projects. So we'll submit that and come back in a few minutes and refresh and see how that's got on. So a few minutes later, and we hit the refresh, you can see it's completed verification. So that's really everything we need to do to set up for the Teams thing. I want to take this session a little bit further and just show you how we might kick off a migration, what we need to do there, but also I want to talk a little bit about user mapping as well, because that does come up quite a lot in conversations that I have about how the user mapping really does work. And there are some tools in the background to make that a bit easier for you on this MigrationWiz console. So the first thing to talk about really is we have these two team names, distribution, and it will end up being called distribution on the target side. But what if you want to call it something else? It might be a name conflict you've got already and you just want to call it something completely different. Well, we can. We just hit, before we do the migration, obviously, we hit the pencil here, and we might want to just call that distribution team. We can't put any spaces in, so remember that. But it's just distribution team there, and we'll save that item, and that will take effect. So when we do the migration, it will create the different name for us. Now, when we kick off a migration, what we're going to do is we'll hit the toggle button here, and we say start and do a full migration. Now, we've got some options in here, because what I want to show you is there's some steps that we need to go through to make this work. We need to do it in various passes. So the first pass we're going to do really is this one here, setting up teams creation. I mean, the console does tell you really what you should be doing, but I want to just reiterate where that is. So you can see setting up teams creation. We call this the scaffolding pass, and it will just build the team and put the framework around it so it will exist in the target tenant. Now, once we've done that, we will go across then and do the migration of data. But I'm just going to run this setup for Teams now and actually start that migration and kick that off so we can get into the next items and show you those as well. Now, while that's doing that, I do want to come back to talking about the users. Now, you'll notice in the migration and all the way through this, it hasn't talked at all about the users and the user mapping and really what goes on there. Because you may have situations in Teams where you might have Robert Smith on one side and he wants to be called Bob Smith on the other. Now, the way the migration works is it would take everybody that's a member of the distribution team, take the prefix of their UPN. So in this case, it might be, let's say Bob Smith, and he wants to be, let's suppose he's going to be Robert Smith on the other side. It's going to create Bob Smith, but it's not going to find Bob Smith on the target tenant. So he's not going to become a member. So we need a way that we can do that. So if I go back to that help desk article, have a look here. And if you scroll down the article, you'll find this part, which says, how to apply user mapping for a large number of users. Now, I'm not going to actually go through and do this, but I wanted to point this out because it's a very useful thing to have. What you need to have is the BitTitan SDK, which you'll download and install there. And there's a script at the bottom of this article, which, as it says there, is Teams user mapping. And what you do is you create the CSV file, and you put the source and the destination for the user mapping in the CSV file. And really, you're just then connecting with the SDK and running that script with the project ID. And you can see where the project ID comes from in the top there, and give it your CSV path. And it will go and apply all of that user mapping in the back end of the MigrationWiz tool. And then, of course, you just run the migration as you would like to. And Bob becomes Robert, and everybody's actually happy with that. Now, the nice thing is if you do make any changes to that CSV file, just rerun the script. Run it straight over the top, and any changes you make will go over the top of that, adding new people in. Just rerun the whole thing over the top. And away you go. So that's done. It's created that scaffolding pass. So what we'll do is I'm just going to bring up the target tenant. See here. And we're just going to hit a refresh on this. We should see a distribution team in there. And there we go. Look at that. And what you may be surprised to see is the fact that it's still called distribution as a title, but it's actually the distribution team down here is what we've changed. That is the actual architecture of the team is based on the UPN, which is here. So that's really what that renaming does. So if you do need to change the name, by all means, just go ahead and we can actually just change it in here. There's a space. Now you remember I didn't put a space in the team rename, and that's because the rename is this part here. So we can just go and apply that if we wanted to, and that is all good. But now what I want to do is just play again, and we're going to go ahead and do the migration of data between them. So we're just clicking it again and hit start for the full migration, and you can see that we are now do migrate data. Now what it's recommending is that we do conversations, documents, let's say documents there, and the versioning, any metadata, document permissions here. Yes, it can cause it to be a little slow. Document permissions do take a little bit longer to go, and we'll turn that off. So really what we're grabbing here is these main items. So documents, metadata, versions, document permissions, and the conversations. So we'll hit start and let that run through. Now, for testing purposes, I'm keeping an eye on how this is going on both the source and the target. So let me show you what that's being submitted. This is logged in as John Smith on the Zeotroop side, so we can see what his team looked like. So you can see he's got just a very small team. He's got a channel there with just 2 messages, and he's got 1 file in there. It is obviously very, very small, but what I'm expecting to see is obviously this data to come over into the target. Now, at the moment, we haven't applied any memberships. So if we look at his account on this side over here, you'll see he's actually just a member of one team. He's not a member of distribution yet, and he can't see anything. So this is his account inside the target tenant, and there is not much happening as we would expect until the point where that membership comes through and everything should come to life. So we'll keep an eye on that, and we'll show you when that goes through. Alrighty, so that pass is completed. Now, if we go and click in any of these items here, you can see what it's done. If you're inquisitive about exactly how much data it's moved and what it's done in certain areas, this is going to give you a good synopsis of what is going on. You can see not much in that channel, as we know, but you can see how that might be helpful. So let's just go back up here, and we're going to do a final pass now, which is going to start adding people into the team. Now, this is the one you might want to schedule for later. Maybe a weekend or depending on the migration you're doing, but there is an option to do scheduling down the bottom. So here we're just going to do the migrate data, and all we're going to do here is the teams and channels memberships and the planner. Now that scheduling is actually down here a little bit. We can say if we want to schedule it for a particular time, we can certainly do that. But in this case, we're just going to do these 2 and kick that off and come back and see what that looks like shortly. And there we go, we have that final pass completed. So we once again have a quick look in here, and you can see we've got ticks and really no errors across the whole migration, which is good to see. What I will do is just drag through that destination logon, and you can see, yep, now John Smith is now a member of the distribution team in general, and you can see there's some messages from the previous tenant. It does flag them, they are from the previous tenant, but they're still usable. You can still reply them, what have you here. And in the files and other tabs, there's the file that's come across too. So I would put that migration down to being successful, and we are completed. So a quick recap on this session. What we had to do was set up the application permissions, which we grabbed that control from that help center, applied those permissions to both tenants. We then created the MigrationWiz service account, made sure that had a license that had access to Teams. It doesn't need to be an admin of any sort. It just needs to have that license. The admin requirement is based on the application permissions. That's what we proposed. Then we also had to make sure it was a member of the correct security group, and we were able to then do the auto discover, bring the teams in, change the name if necessary, and bring over that data from one tenant to another. And also the mapping of the users. If they needed to be changed, there's the script on that. Let me show you where that script is in the help desk article too. So as I said, it talks about it in that article, which you saw, but it's actually right down, oh, excuse me, making everyone's eyes go funny. But if you go right down the bottom, there it is. Here's the example CSV, and then the other PowerShell scripts which you would need to perform those tasks. So with all that, thank you for watching. Hope that was helpful, and we will talk to you again soon.